Thanks for viewing and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, subscribe so you don't miss the latest uploads. Now let's get started.
As Vikir explores the dark dungeon, he spots scattered ruby minerals, likely connected to nearby Red All Mountain. Seeing a glimmer of light, he wonders if it's the entrance he seeks. Hurrying forward, he enters a brightly lit room, amazed by a massive ruby on a pillar. He admires its beauty and guesses it's infused with mana. Suddenly, he notices a skeleton nearby, showing signs of violence. Curious, he picks up a letter signed by someone named Kane, possibly a Baskerville family member. The letter revealed how Kane and his brother Abel discovered the legendary stone chamber, enduring trials and monsters for years. Vikir marvels at their sacrifice, pondering the treasure's worth. He realizes the ruby may hold the key to the chamber's final challenge. Reading the puzzle aloud, he recalls Kane and Abel's struggle with it. According to the letter, they concluded that to obtain the treasure, they must reunite as one, meaning only one could leave with it. Kane ended up slaying his brother in a fierce battle, yet nothing changed. Despite becoming one, he couldn't claim the treasure. Filled with regret, Kane left the place, warning others to stay away from this devil's den. Vikir reads the letter carefully, understanding Kane's journey. Despite facing numerous challenges, they left empty-handed. Vikir ponders the cryptic message from the monument, realizing Kane and Abel misinterpreted it. But what does it truly mean? When entering, it's one, but once inside, it's two. When leaving, it's one. The words linger in Vikir's mind as he seeks their true significance. Vikir refuses to give up, determined to solve the puzzle. Examining the skeleton, he has a realization. Kane and Abel failed due to their fixed mindset as individuals. Walking towards the ruby, he analyzes the dark passageway and understands the riddle's answer lies within it. Realizing that the answer is shadow, he breaks the ruby, revealing a flash of light and the hidden treasure. Wide-eyed with amazement, Vikir realizes the treasure was the cause of the brothers' demise. In front of Vikir stands a sword emitting an evil aura, resting upon a stone. He wonders if it's the relic of the Devil's Den. Examining it, he reads the inscription. Only those with Baskerville's blood can wield Beelzebub. Surprised, Vikir realizes the sword's origin. Memories flood back from his childhood, recalling a picture book depicting Beelzebub, a gluttonous fly from old legends. Beelzebub was part of the devil's holy constellation, the Seven Calamities, opposed by the heads of 7 families. The first Baskerville patriarch fought Beelzebub, and its power remnants were stored in Baskerville lands. The demonic energy of Beelzebub was known to attract monsters, a legend dismissed by many as myth, but Vikir believed it true. The sword before him was evidence of its reality. He remembered how the blade had been taken by demon clans, causing countless human deaths. Determined, Vikir tries to pull out the sword, declaring it would never fall into demon hands again. Suddenly, he feels energy surging into his hand, exclaiming in surprise as he tightly grips the hilt. Then, the sword vanishes from sight. Moments later, the sword reappears, now fully fused with Vikir's hand. He extends it, and Beelzebub emerges, emitting a faint aura. Vikir marvels at the blade, crafted from a devil's holy constellation. Grinning, he anticipates the strength it will bring him. With excitement, Vikir decides to leave the dungeon, having found all he sought. Leaving the dungeon, Vikir suddenly feels strange sensations in his body, falling to his knees feeling dizzy and hungry. Hearing Beelzebub's voice, he realizes it's the sword itself that's hungry. Clutching his stomach in pain, Vikir wonders if his sense of smell has heightened. Beelzebub pulls him in a certain direction, urging him to follow. Running towards it, Vikir finds the corpse of the hellhound he had slain earlier. Surprised, he sees Beelzebub drawn to the corpse, extending the sword towards it. As Beelzebub absorbs the hellhound's blood, Vikir's hunger subsides, wondering if the sword's appetite affects the surroundings. Frustrated by its unpredictability, Vikir feels responsible for Beelzebub. It finishes its meal, leaving Vikir cautious of its glutton of flies power, which absorbs opponents' skills. Vikir stops Beelzebub from absorbing more, fearing damage, causing it pain. Now all slots are full. Burn Injury Cerberus A+, Hemorrhage Hellhound B+, and High-Speed Regeneration Norvegicus Sewer Rat F. Surprised by the high-speed regeneration, Vikier realizes Beelzebub consumed a dead rat. Vikier sees acquiring the Burn Injury skill from the Cerberus as a big achievement due to its severe pain. He suggests waiting until after the practical exam to prepare the monster. After completing their exams, the young hounds receive rewards from hunted monster parts. Vikier impresses by hunting a Cerberus, an A+-ranked monster. Hugo is surprised that Vikier hunted such a high-ranking monster, even avoided by the family's guardian knights. The head butler explains the Cerberus was wounded by a barbarian tribe, and Vikier used poison on his spear, though details are unknown. Intrigued, Hugo plans to ask Vikier, but finds him already retired to his dorm, claiming fatigue. Amused, Hugo notes Vikier's cunning and believes information is valuable. The head butler expresses surprise that a hound named Van is so talented. Hugo asserts he doesn't discriminate based on bloodline. Hugo raised hounds based on talent and spirit, not lineage, allowing even mutts to have royal bloodlines. The head butler wonders if Hugo is concerned about his second son's isolation training but doesn't voice it. Hugo dismisses the apology, needing a mood boost, so the head butler summons Vikier. Vikier stands confidently before Patriarch Hugo, who asks about his success in catching the Cerberus. Vikier calmly explains he used chocolate on his spear, a lethal poison for cannid monsters, surprising Hugo, who realizes the reason Vikier asked for chocolate before the hunt. The head butler questions the informal greeting, doubting if it's a father-son chat. Hugo asks Vikier why he didn't respond properly to the butler. Vikier explains the clan's master is his real master. Hugo congratulates Vikier on his hunt, giving him the monster's corpse. Vikier, as the top scorer, gets to make a wish. He excitedly asks for access to the 10,000 epistle library. Hugo is surprised, mentioning only select individuals can enter, not just anyone. Undeterred, Vikier suggests giving up on the request, but secretly plans to sneak in. Surprisingly, Hugo allows him. Furthermore, Hugo instructs Vikier to read the Baskerville 6th technique from the 6th restricted zone of the library. Vikier is shocked, considering his Van middle name and illegitimate status. It's rare for someone like him to access techniques beyond the 4th. Despite his surprise, Vikier tries to stay calm, reasoning that it's just the 6th technique. Despite this, Vikier remains determined. He's aware of Hugo's achievements, but hasn't forgotten the discrimination he faced as an illegitimate child. Vikier aims to surpass Hugo, seeking the essence of Baskerville, a crucial swordsmanship textbook. He believes it holds the key to his success and expects Hugo to support him. As Hugo wishes him luck, Vikier bows in thanks. He's confident he'll make the most of the opportunity and exceed expectations. Vikier enters the 10,000 epistle library for the first time, awed by its grandeur. He scans the titles of swordsmanship books, longing to learn them as he did in his past life. Aware of his limitations as an illegitimate child, he knows he can't go beyond the 4th technique to prevent rebellion. Finding a chained book, possibly the 6th technique, surprises him. Vikier can't believe Hugo offered it to him, never imagining this opportunity before regressing. As he unlocks the book, he realizes Hugo may have underestimated him, thinking an 8-year-old couldn't memorize its contents in a day. Before regressing, Vikier mastered the theory up to the 4th technique, but grew tired of it. He speculated on the 5th technique, realizing he needed to halt mana flow after the 4th tooth to unlock it. Baskerville swordsmanship follows a pattern: 1 tooth for the 1st technique, 2 for the 2nd, and so on, unleashing red sword energy. Despite access to the book on the 6th technique, Vikier isn't interested. He seeks a higher stage. Exiting the swordsmanship section surprises the guards, who question if he's done reading already, disbelieving. The guards offer more books, but Vikier declines, claiming he's done. They're amazed and suggest he stay longer. Vikier assures them he's considering other books before leaving. As he walks away, the guards whisper about the section he's headed to, filled with miscellaneous books. One suggests Vikier explore swordsmanship textbooks. They wonder if Vikir doesn't understand their value due to his youth. Vikir overhears but leaves them to their thoughts, knowing hidden treasures may lie among the dusty books. His eyes light up as he spots a book titled A Lurking Ambush. He seizes the book, recognizing its value despite its worn state. Vikir recalls Hugo's obsession with a ripped page, leading to the discovery of A Lurking Ambush containing the coveted 10th technique. Hugo declared war to obtain the remaining pages, sacrificing many hounds, but received only a simple good job as a reward. Despite achieving the 7th and 9th techniques, it came at a terrible cost. Underneath him lies a heap of wasted hound corpses and blood. Vikir's eyes narrow with anger as he recalls this memory, deeming it foolish. He resolves not to let it happen again. Vikir remembers the missing pages hold the key to mastering the techniques. Without them, the book is just random and useless. Reading, he states aloud that to others, the book may seem nonsensical, but with the missing pages, it's a masterpiece. Despite reaching the highest levels before regressing, Vikir vows not to repeat past mistakes, pledging to reclaim his lost power before turning 15. Deeply engrossed in the book, Vikir loses track of time, only realizing it's daytime when he closes it. Proud of memorizing its contents, he stands up to notice the absent guardian knights. Confident in achieving the 5th technique despite his young age, he faces a statue, unleashing his Baskerville sword technique with each strike. Memories flood back of his hard work to reach the highest level of graduator aura, despite hostility from the direct bloodline due to being illegitimate, hindering progress beyond the 5th technique. Determined not to be held back by his past, Vikir attacks the statue with all his might, channeling his anger and frustration. Defiant, he visualizes Hugo's face on the statue and unleashes his technique, cutting through it with precision. Breathing heavily, Vikir wonders if he executed the 5th technique. He smiles, feeling a surge of happiness. Realizing he needs a sword to test his new technique, he witnesses a record-breaking event. A young hound's canine teeth start to grow, bared towards its master. Vikir beams with pride, thrilled at drawing the 5th tooth. He's amazed at how quickly he achieved this compared to his past life's efforts. Observing the liquid aura within him, a sign of his newfound graduator status, fills him with awe. Graduators are at a different level from sword experts, and at just 8 years old, he's achieved what took 30 years before. Confident in his skills, he aims to master the lurking ambush technique fully, recognizing its seamless transition between offense and defense. Placing the book near the window, he reflects on his progress, feeling stronger and more skilled than ever. He believes he can challenge a mid-class graduator and win using his newfound abilities. Vikir knows he can't reveal too much strength to Hugo, needing time to secure what he needs. Using a magnifying lens, he ignites a fire on the book, hindering Hugo's progress to the 10th technique. The guards, drawn by the smell of burning paper, demand an explanation from Vikir. Apologizing for the incident, he explains the accidental fire and offers to report it to the butlers. The guards, relieved that only useless books were harmed, acknowledge their oversight in supervising Vikir. Vikir inquires if the guards are preoccupied with the Morgue clan and the ruby mines, assuming they wouldn't have time for small issues like this, especially since they weren't present to begin with. The guards agree to keep it a secret as long as Vikir reciprocates. Vikir suggests keeping the incident between them and apologizes for taking their time. As he walks away, the guards commend Vikir's considerate nature, believing he deserves respect. With a mischievous grin, Vikir enters Hugo's office. Hugo asks if Vikir found something enlightening in the library. Vikir cryptically mentions discovering something intriguing. This surprises Hugo and the head butler, who realize Vikir may have achieved the aura, signifying his entry into the world of the sword. Initially doubting Vikir's abilities at his age, Hugo asks him to demonstrate what he's learned. In a Colosseum-like setting, Vikir stands with a sword as young hounds watch. The head butler questions Hugo's plan to test Vikir's skills, shocked at the idea of releasing a monster. Hugo confirms he's prepared a formidable opponent, a hungry orc. As the gate opens, the chained orc is brought in, captivating the audience. Some question the necessity of sending an orc to face an 8-year-old, wondering if the guardian knights might intervene. Despite doubts, Vikir faces the charging orc with calm resolve. With Hugo's approval, the guard releases it. As it charges, Vikir waits, swiftly severing its arm and then its leg. The orc falls, growling in pain, while Vikir remains composed, analyzing. He realizes the orc's shock at its first experience of bleeding means its regeneration won't work. Knowing a C-class monster can't stop the hemorrhage from a B-class hellhound, Vikir impresses the audience with his strength. Some question if it's possible without mana. Vikir glances at Hugo, who remains calm. He knows Hugo is still assessing his progress and aims to impress him. Hugo's eyes glow, surprising the head butler, who questions if it's Aura Blade. Vikir's sword emits a bright red light as he charges at the orc, which struggles to stand. With a swift strike, the Aura Blade slices through the air, decapitating the orc. Hugo, seated nearby, is astounded. The head butler recognizes Vikir's sword glow as that of a low-class sword expert and congratulates Hugo on witnessing the birth of a genius. However, Hugo's attention is drawn to the orc's blood, still flowing despite its regeneration reputation. He dismisses Vikir's victory, attributing it to the orc's weakness. Vikir's voice interrupts Hugo's thoughts, prompting him to turn towards his son. With an innocent smile, Vikir surprises the audience by requesting a stronger opponent than the orc. He hopes to impress his father and prove his progress. Hugo agrees, acknowledging Vikir's hunger for challenge, and suggests a more formidable opponent. He orders the head butler to bring in a captured creature from a barbarian raid. The head butler confirms there's one left, and Hugo commands for it to be brought in. Vikir and the audience watch in awe as a troll enters the arena. Facing the fearsome creature, Vikir seeks Hugo's approval to begin the fight. With Hugo's approval, the troll's chains are released, and it lunges at Vikir with a powerful punch. Vikir dodges with agility, swiftly moving behind the troll. Some in the audience question Vikir's missed opportunity to attack, but Hugo explains Troll's exceptional regenerative power, emphasizing the need for a strategic plan to hunt them. As the troll charges again, Vikir gracefully evades its attacks, impressing the audience. They speculate on Vikir's tactics, wondering why he hasn't fought back yet. After assessing the situation, Vikir decides to take action, planning to use the troll's power against itself. As the troll attacked again, Vikir seized the opportunity, swiftly attacking its arm. The audience gasped as they saw Vikir's quick move, but soon realized the wound wasn't fatal. The troll's wounds began to heal rapidly. Vikir knew only Beelzebub's hemorrhage skill could kill it, but using it now would be meaningless. Ignoring Hugo's advice, Vikir persisted, determined to finish. Facing the menacing troll, Vikir pondered how much of his true power to reveal. With his sword glowing red, he prepared for a powerful attack. As his sword struck, the troll's head cleanly fell off. Everyone, including the head butler and the audience, was shocked by Vikir's unprecedented achievement of the second technique of the Baskerville clan, normally attained at 18. Overjoyed, Vikir declared his victory with an innocent smile. However, Hugo was left in disbelief. A week later, Vikir found himself in the Baskerville clan's dining area. Noticing the avoidance from others, even surprising Hugo with his recent display of power. Reflecting on what he had revealed, including his Baskerville second technique and mid-rank sword expertise, Vikir knew he was actually a low-rank graduator, capable of weakly performing the Baskerville fifth technique. With the newfound skill from the troll, Vikir believed he was now stronger than the average graduator. He recalled his increased appetite since obtaining the skill for Beelzebub's third slot, now hosting a super speed regeneration troll with a C+ rating. Suddenly, the triplets appeared behind Vikir, causing him to be surprised and cautious. However, they only wanted to praise him for defeating Cerberus and the troll. Vikir was suspicious but resumed eating. Before he could act further, the head butler Barrymore appeared and summoned him to the Patriarch room at Hugo's behest. Vikir wondered why Hugo had called for him. In the Patriarch's office of the Baskerville clan, Patriarch Hugo greeted Adolphe Morgue, representing the Morgue clan. Adolf expressed hope for a smooth annual event, referencing last year's incident where 2 children were injured. Hugo downplayed it, but Adolf emphasized the morgue's nobility. The clans had a history of cooperation due to their complementary nature as a mage clan and a sword clan. However, tensions arose over a ruby mine, straining their relationship. Despite this, they continued joint training sessions for children as mandated by the Emperor, with Adolf attending in his brother's place to ensure the event's success. Adolf mentioned news of a supernova in the Baskerville family, signifying the birth of a rare genius. Hugo responded modestly, downplaying the significance. Adolf was surprised by Hugo's reaction, but then revealed that the morgues also had a genius, introducing Camus, Rispani's daughter. Camus accused Hugo of stealing their ruby mine, which angered him. Adolf denied making such a statement, leading to a tense exchange. Hugo demanded clarification while Adolf attempted to defuse the situation by suggesting a misunderstanding. Hugo dismissed Adolf's attempt to explain the Morgue clan's education issues. Camus persisted in demanding the return of their rubies, citing difficulties with research. Despite Adolf's attempts to calm her, Camus remained agitated. Hugo, losing patience, criticized the Morgues for lacking manners in their upbringing. Adolf defended Camus, questioning Hugo's intentions toward a child. This silenced Hugo, unwilling to act in a way that would harm his pride. Suddenly, Vikir's voice interjected, remarking on the Morgue's failure to teach their children not to envy others' possessions. The head butler then announced Vikir's arrival, surprising Adolf, who wondered if Vikir was the Baskerville's supernova. Vikir's thoughts were interrupted as he noticed Camus had vanished from her seat. She approached Vikir, demanding to know what he had said. Adolf called out to her, trying to prevent a scene. Meanwhile, Vikir analyzed Camus, recognizing her as the Morgue clan's renowned genius, known for her exceptional magical abilities and influential beauty. Despite her future accomplishments, she was still just a child. Camus aggressively questioned Vikir about the ruby mine, but Vikir remained composed, even calling out her tantrum. Camus surprised Vikir by creating an ice sculpture instead of attacking, using it to illustrate her point. She pointed to a nearby cave, explaining the situation with the ruby mine. Situated on the border between Morgue and Baskerville territories, known as the Joint Security Area, the mine's entrance lay in Morgue territory, but the vein ran under Baskerville land. Camus emphasized the mine's ownership by the Morgue clan and the Baskervilles' interruption of their mining activities. Despite Morgue's offering rent for the territory, the Baskervilles had rejected the proposal. Adolf seemed satisfied, but Hugo grew irritated. Vikir interjected, noting that while rubies were essential for magic, the Baskervilles didn't rely on mining them. He suggested the Baskervilles weren't foolish enough to give up their territory for a nominal fee. Camus was perplexed by this, questioning why the Baskervilles wouldn't rent their land if they didn't need the rubies. Vikir clarified that the Baskervilles were protective of their territory and didn't want others profiting from it. He cautioned Camus against entering their land, as it would only result in losses for them. Unconvinced, Camus asserted her claim over the ruby vein and placed her arm on the sculpture in Baskerville territory, challenging its ownership. Vikir intercepted her arm with a smile, claiming ownership since it was on his land. Camus felt embarrassed and flustered, questioning his assertion. Vikir teased her with a mischievous grin, denying ownership, but then brandishing a knife, shocking everyone in the room. With a chilling tone, he claimed possession of her arm. Camus, alarmed, cried out for help from her uncle. Adolf appeared behind Vikir with a fierce expression, demanding he release his niece. Camus used the distraction to break free and seek comfort from her uncle. Adolf, furious, demanded an explanation from Hugo. Hugo admitted Vikir's joke had gone too far. Vikir then revealed the knife was a toy commonly used in the Baskerville family. Adolf was shocked and demanded an apology from Vikir for frightening Camus. Vikir apologized, assuring Adolf he meant no harm. Despite the apology, Adolf remained angry, accusing Vikir of not taking the situation seriously. Hugo intervened, suggesting they focus on discussing the ruby mines and completing the friendly duels first. Adolf reluctantly agreed. Camus, still upset, warned Vikier she wouldn't forget what happened. Vikier remained unfazed, smiling faintly. On the day of the duels, children aged 8 to 15 gathered to showcase their skills. The attention was on the battle between the Morgue and Baskerville clans, with Camus and Vikier set to face off. Camus warned Vikier not to expect mercy once she was ready. Camus immediately began casting spells, stunning the audience with her ability to cast 4 simultaneously. One onlooker speculated if she was casting quadra spells, impressed by her skill at just 8 years old. Another praised her as the genius mage of Morgue, noting that such feats were expected of her. Despite her impressive display, Vikier easily dodged all her attacks. He critiqued her approach, suggesting she focus on mastering one spell instead of flashy displays. Camus sneered at Vikier's advice, dismissing him as an ignorant idiot who didn't understand magic. Camus conjured a sand wall spell to block Vikier's advance, but he easily broke through it with a swift kick. Surprised by his strength, Camus wondered if he had the power of one who bathed in the river Styx. As she pondered, Vikier launched an attack that seemed unavoidable. Expecting a hit, Camus closed her eyes, only to feel Vikier flicking her forehead, sending her flying. Adolf couldn't believe the force behind such a simple action. Nursing her sore forehead, Camus demanded to know why Vikier had flicked her, accusing him of holding back. She vowed not to let him off easily. Vikier suggested ending the confrontation, but Camus refused, conjuring another sand wall spell. Despite her confidence, Vikier effortlessly shattered the walls with a single punch. Surprised, Camus was caught off guard when Vikier flicked her forehead again. As she fell in pain, Vikier emphasized the strength that crossed the wall, indicating his superiority. Despite her persistence, Camus couldn't land a blow on Vikier, who skillfully evaded her attacks. Finding dealing with children challenging, Vikier pondered calming Camus without causing a scene. He noticed a nearby duel and decided to let others handle Camus, focusing on observing a swordmaster deflecting spells with a sword. When Vikier warned Camus about a pending attack, Adolf realized Vikier's plan and shouted in surprise as a powerful blast shook the arena, stunning the audience. Lady Camus heard her uncle Adolf's voice in the chaos and wondered what she should do. She had avoided injuries with the help of a defensive spell, but her clothes were charred by the flames. Tearful and embarrassed at the thought of being seen, she was surprised when Vikier approached and offered his jacket. Confused by his kindness toward an enemy, she weakly protested, but Vikier insisted, showing no concern for his own well-being. Despite her worries about him being exposed without his jacket, Vikier remained unconcerned. Camus couldn't understand his actions. Upon noticing Vikier's bleeding scratch, she pointed it out, surprising him. Vikier realized the scratch came from the sword wielded by the idiot swordsman and must have carried some remaining aura. As the dust settled, Camus and Vikier stood revealed to the audience. Adolf was relieved to see Camus safe, though the audience was puzzled to see Vikier bleeding despite Camus being on the ground. They admired Vikier's physique, impressed by his physical prowess at a young age. Camus watched Vikier with curiosity, feeling a strange attraction towards him. After the battle, as Hugo and Vikier walked down a dim hallway, Hugo asked about the fight. Vikier admitted finding it interesting but confessed his confusion about facing a lady in battle. Hugo cautioned him against letting his guard down and advised him to learn from his injuries. Surprised by Hugo's concern, Vikier reflected on their relationship, recalling Hugo's stern demeanor during his youth. There were rumors about Hugo's stern demeanor being attributed to personal tragedies, but Vikier didn't concern himself with such matters. Changing the topic, Hugo asked Vikier for his opinion on the ruby mines. Vikier suggested relinquishing control over the mines, citing the Baskerville clan's primary goal of territorial expansion. He proposed leveraging the Morgue clan's assistance to mitigate potential losses during expansion by relocating monsters and barbarians to the mining region. Impressed, Hugo outlined his plan to assign forces to the mines and confront the threats there, ensuring the rubies became a symbol of their strength. He believed this strategy would deter the Morgue clan from encroaching on their territory. Hugo praised Vikier's idea, noting it aligned well with his own plans. Vikier couldn't shake the feeling that the idea wasn't entirely original, considering he had executed a similar plan on Hugo's orders in a past life. He suggested keeping an eye on the morgue's movements, but Hugo assured him that they were already monitoring the situation closely. As they walked, Adolf approached them, requesting a discussion before his departure. They convened in a nearby room, where Adolf proposed peaceful resolutions for the ruby mines issue, including usage fees. He also suggested an engagement between Morgue and Baskerville children. While Hugo and Adolf negotiated the terms, Camus watched Vikier with a flushed face. Hugo then inquired about the chosen child for the engagement. Adolf proposed a union between the eldest son of the Baskervilles and his niece, Camus, emphasizing her exceptional qualities. He believed Camus would be an ideal match for the esteemed son of the Baskerville clan, known as their small son. However, Hugo expressed concern over the significant age gap, revealing that his eldest son was 25 years old. Adolf downplayed the issue, citing a manageable 17-year gap. Camus interjected, asserting her desire for a partner stronger than her mother and closer in age. Despite persuasion from Adolf and Hugo, Camus remained firm in her stance, causing tension. Suddenly, Camus blushed and glanced at Vikier, alarming Adolf. He warned Camus against entertaining such thoughts, believing Vikier to be insignificant due to his lineage. Hugo intervened, emphasizing that the individual's desires were paramount in engagements. Turning to Vikier, he asked for his opinion. Camus eagerly awaited Vikier's response. After a brief exchange of glances, Vikier accepted, albeit stating he did so under orders. Adolf, visibly upset, was outraged at Vikier's attitude toward Camus. Meanwhile, Camus blushed, pondering Vikier's intentions. Hugo dismissed lineage importance, stating greatness could come from any descent. Adolf remained skeptical, especially regarding Vikier. He scrutinized Vikier closely, expressing doubt about his suitability. Adolf, a respected six-circle master and staunch supporter of his niece, contemplated Vikier's suitability. He expressed reservations about just anyone becoming Camus' husband. Vikier, considering the engagement as a mere suggestion between clans, wondered if Adolf doubted even the genius of the Baskerville clan. As Adolf attempted to press him down, he was surprised by Vikier's sturdy body. Vikier's indifferent response startled Camus, especially since it was directed at her powerful uncle. Meanwhile, Hugo struggled to contain his laughter amid the tension. Adolf's reaction to Vikier's response was a menacing laugh, prompting him to request a deeper conversation with Hugo. Despite Hugo's skepticism about scolding an 8-year-old, Adolf clarified that his request stemmed from his role as Camus' uncle rather than as the deputy patriarch. Camus tried to intervene, but Adolf brushed aside her concerns, asserting that this was inevitable. Despite Hugo's reluctance, he agreed to Adolf's request for a conversation with Vikier. However, it quickly became apparent that this conversation was actually a duel. In the arena, Vikier and Adolf faced off, while Hugo and Camus observed from the sidelines. Adolf announced a test of Vikier's abilities, challenging him to showcase his full potential. Vikier agreed, knowing that revealing everything might overwhelm Adolf. Adolf then demonstrated his mastery by effortlessly crafting a pot using fire, earth, and water magic. Filling the pot with water, he balanced it on his head and proposed a duel to Vikier. The task: to make a single drop of water fall from the pot. Despite the challenge, Vikier saw it as an opportunity to test his skills against Adolf, recalling his win rate against him before his regression. Analyzing the situation, Vikier considered his options, assessing a 50% chance of success with an assassination attempt and a 10% chance in a direct confrontation. Vikier approached the situation cautiously, aiming to meet Hugo's expectations while gauging Adolf's true abilities. Suddenly, he charged at Adolf with his sword drawn, surprising Camus with his direct approach. Despite her warnings, Vikier's sword was met by Adolf's barrier spell, blocking the attack. Amused, Adolf remarked on the effectiveness of shield magic against swordsmen. Frustrated by the failed attempt, Vikier clicked his tongue in annoyance. Adolf seized the initiative, launching spells at Vikier, who agilely dodged them. Camus intervened, protesting the unfairness of Adolf's tactics, as she had never faced such powerful spells in their duels. Adolf, surprised by Camus' support for Vikier, questioned whose side she was on. Adolf turned to Vikier with tears in his eyes, calling him a bastard and vowing not to forgive him. Meanwhile, Hugo observed the battle, intrigued by the combatant strategies. He decided not to intervene, wanting to see Vikier's capabilities firsthand. As Vikier skillfully dodged Adolf's spells, he analyzed his opponent's strengths and weaknesses, using his knowledge from his past life to gain an advantage. Adolf smirked, confident that Vikier's sword would never penetrate his shield. However, Vikier's relentless attacks began to weaken the shield, surprising Adolf. Despite Adolf's taunts about Vikier's sword's durability, Hugo and Camus looked on with shocked expressions, unnoticed by Adolf, who continued to boast about his defenses. Water suddenly poured onto Adolf's head, completely drenching him in seconds. Surprised, he shouted in disbelief, questioning how the broken sword had managed to pierce the pot. Vikier, smiling, remarked that the pot appeared to be full. Witnessing Vikier's unexpected victory, Camus blushed and expressed disbelief, contemplating the possibility of marriage. Meanwhile, Hugo, standing nearby, recognized the incident as a testament to Vikier's remarkable talent and strength. He pondered whether he was raising a much stronger hound than he had realized. 7 years had passed since the young hounds began their training at the Baskerville grounds. Today, they faced a fierce monster resembling a horned bear. As the creature charged, they attacked with their swords, aiming for its hind legs to slow it down. Their coordination impressed Staffordshire Baskerville, their instructor, who noted the effectiveness of their dark crimson aura. After weakening the monster, the young hounds finished it off, earning praise from Staffordshire for becoming low-rank sword experts and mastering the first Baskerville technique. Staffordshire warned the young hounds about the dangers of facing wild creatures like the ox bear on Le Rouge et Le Noir mountain, emphasizing the need to use their bloodline or build experience to survive. With this, he concluded their training and congratulated them on their graduation, wishing them luck. Following their graduation, the young hounds discussed their preferences for the various knight orders within the Baskerville clan. The first hound favored the Wolfhound order, while the second hound mentioned the Doberman, Pitbull, and Rottweiler orders. The Baskerville clan comprised 7 knight orders, each serving different purposes. In their conversation, one hound pointed out Vikier seated atop a slain ox bear, referring to him as that bastard. The hounds continued discussing Vikier, noting his defeat of a larger ox bear and his status as a high-rank sword expert. Vikier, lost in thought, reflected on his progress, realizing it had taken longer than expected to reach his current level as a graduate intermediate rank at the 5th Baskerville technique. Suddenly, head butler Barrymore appeared, informing Vikier of the Patriarch's summons and his assigned task. Vikier entered Hugo's office, where he greeted him, noticing a cut on Hugo's nose. Hugo explained that he had encountered barbarians on Le Rouge et Le Noir mountain, and though he hadn't captured them, he had left one with a matching scar. Hugo congratulated Vikier on his graduation, but his tone hinted at the challenges ahead. Vikier recalled his past as a junior knight of the Pitbull order, facing death continuously for 21 months on Le Rouge et Le Noir mountain. He reflected on the Baskerville hierarchy, where children were classified as elite or expendable at age 15. Expendables faced battle while elites focused on education and governance. Vikier understood the purpose of the 5th Baskerville technique, but doubted he'd be allowed to pursue the elite path as an illegitimate child. Hugo's interruption brought Vikier back to the present. Hugo proposed that Vikier take a position in the lower house of Parliament, which oversaw the Baskerville clan's regional affairs. Impressed by Vikier's achievements, Hugo offered him the role of Deputy Consul of Underdog City, emphasizing his exceptional capabilities despite his status as an illegitimate child. After contemplating the offer, Vikier accepted. Before proceeding, he raised an incident involving the Morgue clan and the Ruby Mines. Hugo, aware of the situation, acknowledged Vikier's involvement in screwing over Adolf Morgue. Vikier then boldly requested to borrow his reward once, shocking the head butler, though Hugo remained unfazed. After Hugo stamped a document and expressed his trust in Vikir, calling him son and entrusting him with significant responsibilities, Vikir was taken aback by the sudden closeness. Despite Hugo's high regard, revealed by the head butler hinting at Vikir's grooming for a more substantial role due to his previous position as consul, Vikir was overwhelmed. Recognizing the importance of his new position as deputy consul, he saw it as a chance to hone his skills in a less perilous setting. However, Vikir couldn't shake off the memories of his past life, especially his execution. Silently, he vowed to seek revenge on Hugo Le Baskerville, planning to make him suffer the same fate he had endured.
RMC has now changed his destiny, becoming a deputy consul instead of joining the Pitbull Order wasting away on a mountain. What will this new path bring for RMC? What steps will he do there to get his revenge on Hauser, his father? Find out on the next upload of the Iron-Blooded Sword Hound. Also remember to like and subscribe and tell us in the comments what other manhwa summaries you would like us to upload. Once again, thanks for watching.